Hello and welcome back to another episode of Jersey Talk, where we talk about whatever we feel in these videos. Now, before we begin, just a word from our sponsor, the CAF G2 microphone. Sponsoring this video. Check out the iCard up above if you want to check it out and purchase it. I will post a video link to a different video up above in the iCard. Now, let's bring in the usual guests that we have, the suspects. Hello, Bill and Paul. What's going on, everybody?
What's up, John?
Hello, guys.
Nothing much, man. Living another day, another life. You know what I mean? So, what do you guys feeling this week? Feeling about that? Go ahead.
You want to talk about the gun grab that Biden wants to implement?
Oh man, there goes the Second Amendment again.
First.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a big one.
Well, we have an expert. We have an expert right here on weapons. Paul, what is your take on this whole ordeal?
Well, from the very baseline of what they're trying to do, everything they're trying to do.
Before you say it, why don't you explain a little bit on actually what it's about?
Okay, what they're trying to do is, like, for anyone that doesn't understand, the Second Amendment gives every American citizen the right to keep and bear arms. Okay. Now, obviously, we all know that there's been certain restrictions put in place, okay, over the years, okay, like NFA Act prohibits people from owning machine guns, okay, which even that is not an absolute. Okay, you can get licensed to have fully automatic weapons.
Okay, that's what I was going to say, machine guns. Yeah. Explain it fully automatic, because a lot of people think that, you know, the AR-15 and whatnot are fully automatics. They don't realize that it's single shot.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the biggest misconceptions there are. They call the AR-15, okay, which, because it's designated AR-15, the people who don't know anything think that means automatic rifle 15.
No, doesn't it mean Armalite?
That stands for Armalite 15, okay? It is, in that configuration, it's a semi-automatic rifle, okay?
Yes.
Which all it means is instead of
holding the trigger down,
of like a bolt-action rifle where you have to cock the bolt each time to shoot around, this one, it automatically loads the next round into the chamber after one's been fired. It still requires an additional pull of the trigger to fire that next round.
Exactly. So it's like
when you're talking automatic weapons, one pull on the trigger, if you're holding the trigger, releases rounds until you're empty, or in the case of certain configurations, they have a 3-shot burst instead of full auto. Even the military has changed their weapons. They don't rely heavily on for the standard combat rifles fully automatic anymore. They use semi-automatic or generally 3-shot burst. A lot of people don't even know that.
Well, another misconception is fully automatic too. It's not like you're going to be aiming perfectly when that's happening, because the gun's going to be shaking everywhere as you're shooting.
Absolutely not.
There you go.
Just because of the recoil, it makes it very uncontrollable. That's why the studies they did after Vietnam, in the Vietnam War, they expended, if I'm not mistaken, it was something like 1,000 rounds of ammunition per enemy killed.
A lot of ammo wasted.
Serious.
Yeah, no, I know.
Serious. It's a ridiculous number. And that's why they realized that just, doing what they used to call spray and pray, that you hit something, is not very effective.
Well, do you know what movie portrays that to the T? Do you remember the original Predator, when Jesse Ventura had the Gatling gun?
Oh yeah, he was feeding the bullets.
Yeah,
he was literally cutting down trees.
Exactly, he destroyed the whole forest, and I don't even think he hit the Predator.
No,
so that's what Paul's talking about right now, everybody. Okay, when you're just shooting and it's all over the place, and if you're not powerful enough to hold it steady, that's what's going to happen. You're just going to be cocking it all over the place. So
really, what's going on here is, people have a constitutional right, okay? And, there's all kinds of misconceptions that guarantees you the right to hunt, which it doesn't, okay? It's not primarily for target shooting, for collecting, or any of these things that are normal civilian uses of firearms. The founding fathers created that. Think about this. The First Amendment to the Constitution is the freedom of speech. The second one is the right to bear arms. Okay. If you really think about it, they did that where they did it for a reason. And that's to ensure that you get your other rights.
Yeah.
Okay. No matter how many people want to say otherwise, you don't need this. You don't need an AR-15 to hunt a deer, which, by the way, AR-15 is a very accurate rifle. If you want to hunt with it, you can.
Yeah.
Now, my personal choice would be a more powerful round so I could hit them from further away. Okay. But regardless, the founding fathers put the Second Amendment in place so we would not be oppressed by a tyrannical government, meaning our own government.
Yeah.
They did it specifically because, think about it, they developed this all after fighting the American Revolution. Okay? So they were trying to break free of an oppressive government, and they knew what it would mean. It didn't have to be King George in England. It could be our own president and Congress that could become oppressive and tyrannical against the people.
Yeah, no, listen, I understand it. From the time I was in school, they taught this kind of stuff. So I know history and what history is about and the Constitution. It's today's people that I have been reading some other book or just they're not teaching it in schools so that way we know. Like a lot of people don't even know they have the right to vote. Like you don't have to go to work. You can actually go to vote.
Yeah, but see, this is a big part of the problem, and you just hit the nail on the head. Our children, for quite a while, and even more so today, are being indoctrinated. They are not being educated. They're not being taught accurate history. History is being pushed aside. Math is being pushed aside. They're pushing all the subjects that we studied to be able to succeed in life. They're pushing those aside, okay, and pumping our children's heads full of nonsense. The bottom line is kids knew what it meant to be a good citizen of the United States because they were taught these principles through history, through education, okay, through practices, like when we used to say the Pledge of Allegiance in the school all the time.
No, I remember.
And they used to teach you what that meant. Okay?
They still, private schools, they still say the Pledge of Allegiance.
You hear that a lot. Why do you think school choice is becoming so important?
Oh, I know.
Okay. But as far as the Second Amendment goes, I mean, I got to be careful here because we could talk about this all night long.
Yeah.
If we really
stick to the points then of what exactly, obviously you gave him a little lesson, but now what is Biden trying to do to that?
Okay. What he's trying to do right now by executive order, not even by legislation, don't get me wrong. He's pushing the House and the Senate to try to pass gun legislation. And this is something that the left does. They've been doing it for a long time, and they do it like really well. They give all kinds of things names that common sense would say, oh, the name sounds good. Okay. How many times do you hear the politicians that vote on the legislation don't even read what's in the bill? Okay. But like they'll call something Safe Streets Act. And you go, oh, that sounds good. Everybody wants the streets to be safe.
Yeah.
No, that's not what it means. That means for some reason they decided they're going to defund the police so that people don't feel scared. You know what I'm saying? It's all twisted.
Well,
but what Biden's doing,
I was gonna say, look at Chicago. Chicago has like one of the number one gun control laws.
Strictest gun laws in the country.
Yeah, and they have the most
very
people
strict.
dying. You know what I mean? The most people are dying in Chicago with the strictest laws.
But John, any city that you look at, the ones that have the strictest gun laws are the ones that have the most gun crimes.
Because I'll tell you why. Because law-abiding citizens aren't they don't have the means to protect themselves against the criminals that don't follow the laws.
Yeah.
I
always say the law is the law is there for the law-abiding citizen. like they'll feel weird breaking the law, but the criminal element, they don't care. They don't care about your speed limits. They don't care about your gun
No,
legislation.
no.
But Paul's right when they name something like they use wordplay to make everybody else feel like they're idiots if they don't follow along. This whole like sensible gun law thing has been titled for a long time now. So now they're saying, well, it's sensible. It's sensible gun laws we're talking about, nothing crazy. But in Paul's point, when the founding fathers put the Second Amendment where it was, actually the very second thing they actually put down, there was a real reason for it. And that's when our rulers, our British rulers, we were having that tension between them, between us and them. The very first thing that they tried to enact was to take the guns away. They were like, okay, let's take our guns and then we'll talk. Let's just give us your guns first and then we'll talk and see how it works out. And the Americans at the time refused to give their guns away because they knew what that meant. It meant that now you're going to have a boot on your neck and you're not going to have an armed populace. And now it's been like this throughout history. Any tyrannical regime, whether it's Nazi Germany, whether it's China, whether it's, you name it, Bulgaria, anywhere, the first thing they did was take the guns away from everybody. They did it to the Greeks too in the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah.
They take it away. That way now you can't even defend yourself. You can't even they don't even look at you as a threat anymore.
Well, look.
So
You guys are missing a point.
Yeah.
You're missing something. And this is very important. The first step isn't really taking everything away. The first step is making you register everything you have so they know exactly who has what and where it is.
Well, wait a minute.
That way they know what they need to get it from you.
Okay, now that you said that, I remember them saying that there's a certain type of weapon that you can buy pieces or parts to and then put it together yourself.
They call them ghost guns.
Ghost guns. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Okay.
They call them. And what they're doing.
Yeah, well, criminals can get it and they have no serial numbers on them, right?
Right. But what you're doing is you're buying components of a gun. And since it's not a fully manufactured gun, the parts in and of themselves may not have serial numbers on them because they're not completed parts. Okay. So what they're doing in certain instances is they're selling these parts and you could buy them. Okay. You don't need any.
Yeah. Almost like if I have
parts,
like if I have a Glock and I could buy the rail, right? Separately.
Yeah. You could buy a bunch of these parts and never assemble a firearm, and it's legal to own the parts.
Yeah.
What they're saying is this. If you take it, first of all, whether you know it or not, and I do know, and I am a person who could do the work, you have to have not only tools, skills, and equipment to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But you got to know what you're doing to actually assemble one of these firearms from all these parts. And the whole thing they're worried about is that people are going to do this so there's no record of you having the gun. Okay? Now, I can tell you from experience, over time, based on how the gun laws were in this country, there's a ton of guns. A ton of guns, okay, in this country that people have that the government has no idea they have.
Oh, yeah. I know that already.
Because the laws have changed over time. And the majority of people, if they had a gun that wasn't required to be registered or anything at a certain time, if the law changes down the road, they don't bother to go and do it.
No.
You know,
yeah,
they have
and they pass down.
Family member.
And you pass your gun down to your son or something. You know, you could do that too. But Biden recently had a speech where he brought up another lie, which was crazy because I don't know, because look, obviously the man is losing it, but I kind of think he knew this was a lie when he said it because a lot of the Democrats say this misconception, and it's that whole gun show loopholes. You can just go to a gun show and pick up a gun, and then you got people clapping yay, which isn't true at all. You can't just do that. You can't just show up to a gun show You have to actually go through a background check still.
Let me tell you guys something. You're gonna get a kick
I
out
think.
of it.
Wait. Before you mention that, like, if a gun show comes to say Kentucky, and I'm a Kentucky resident, I think that's different than me being from say Jersey in Kentucky. Obviously,
No,
they won't sell me the gun.
I don't think
right
it's different. I don't think it's different, John. I
No.
don't think you can. I don't think you can just get a gun from there and walk away.
Let me tell you guys a funny story about New Jersey pertaining to gun shows. Okay. Now, I go to a lot of gun shows when I can. And here's the thing. That whole gun show loophole is complete false lie, bald-faced lie, okay? When you go to a gun show, doesn't matter whether you're in state or out of state, whenever you're going to make a purchase, it has to be a federally licensed dealer doing the transaction.
Yes.
Right.
So, all of them are required to do what they call the NICS check, which is essentially a federal background check. Now, they have to do it in a computer, okay? So you have to literally sit down, show all your ID and stuff. They put all the information in and wait for the computer to tell them, is there a reason why you shouldn't have it, or are you okay to have it, okay? Now, here's the funny story about New Jersey. I went to a gun show in Pennsylvania not that long ago, and a buddy of mine was there, and he overheard a woman from Jersey bitching because the dealer refused to sell her a gun because she's from New Jersey, okay? She was getting all kinds of freakazoid out over it, okay? What is it? I'm a woman. What is it? I'm this. What is it? I'm that.
Was she a
What is it?
Karen?
I'm from Jersey. Well, here's what the guy said. Sorry, I'm not doing business with you. Sent her on her way. So my buddy, who happened to know the dealer involved, who had from doing business with him before, said, hey, buddy, not for nothing. He goes, but I've dealt with you. I'm from Jersey. Like, what's the story? He says, listen, I'm at a gun show in Pennsylvania. I paid for the space at this show. I have the opportunity on a weekend to make as many sales as I can. If I let this bitch from New Jersey sit in that chair in front of my computer, New Jersey is so fucked up, my computer will be tied up for 3 or 4 hours trying to get an answer back. I have no problem selling to that woman. I have a problem dealing with New Jersey and the way they do things.
No, that's
They
true.
don't give a shit.
That's true, because when I went to purchase my firearm, it took 2 days.
Exactly.
2 days to get back to me, man. And then my permit for the handgun was running out, and I'm like, oh shit, like, what do I do if it runs out, you know?
But
They put a lot of obstacles in front of you.
He said, just from a business standpoint, he said, I could make 10, 12 other sales guaranteed in the amount of time I might get an answer from New Jersey.
Yeah. Dude, New Jersey's insane.
It's like New Jersey, the way they have everything so screwed up, it's not like a dealer could even make a phone call to somebody on a weekend in New Jersey in the department of whatever. You ain't getting nobody.
You kidding me? Even if they're there, you're not getting anybody. They watch the phone ring.
Exactly. They put all kinds of hoops up. But no, the big thing about this is what Biden's trying to do. They're lying about everything. Everything. If you watch almost any show that's been on since he did that conference, almost any show where there's any conservative speakers at all, they've debunked every one of his lies about the guns. Every one of his lies. Prove that it's not true.
That's if they let him talk.
What they want to do. Huh?
But they're still doing it.
Yeah. But that's if they let him talk after.
Listen, I don't care what that old man says. You can't revoke the United States Constitution with an executive order. Overall, it's not going to happen. Is he going to try to gum up the works? Sure he is. Is he going to try to get the Democrats in the House and the Senate to gum up the works as much as they can? Yes. Okay. Are the stormtroopers coming next week to take your guns? No, they're not. Okay. They're not. But here's what people are really missing about this whole issue. This is the most dangerous thing about this. If you really think about it carefully, what they're trying to do is use scare tactics, make you think they're going after the weapons of war, the scary looking dark guns that kill millions of people at one time, okay, when you have a 10-round magazine capacity in New Jersey. But you notice Has anybody noticed they never really speak out about handguns? Because as far as crime statistics with firearms, the overwhelming majority of criminal shootings between handguns and rifles is handguns.
Yeah.
It's almost a minuscule percentage of long
Yeah,
arms used.
yeah. It's like 95%
Yeah, because it's
handguns.
Now,
easily
listen,
concealed.
let's be honest. Let's be honest, okay? Don't get me wrong. I'm going to fight until my last breath from taking any gun I got, okay, or anybody I know. But think about this from a common sense standpoint. If you really give a shit about the people you say you care about and you really don't want them to be hurt, wouldn't you just come out and honestly say, the numbers show most of the gun crime is committed with handguns. We need to get rid of handguns. Doesn't it seem odd that they don't do that? It's
Yeah.
because they're lying. They don't give a shit. Because couple these two things. It's actually three things. One, the comparison between the long guns and the handguns are involved in more shootings. So they don't care about that. They want you to be scared about these guns. At the same time, they're trying to scare people into disarming law-abiding citizens. All the people that are committing handgun violence in their own communities, they're not putting bail on them anymore. They're releasing them from jail. They're not putting them in jail. They're letting all the criminals, especially in the inner cities, that are using handguns to pop little kids through the window in drive-bys and everything else, they're letting them out on the street. So what they're really doing is they're letting gun violence run rampant, okay, in the cities. At the same time, they're trying to disarm the law-abiding population. Because let's face it, if you're a thug in the hood, you can't just in summertime stroll down the inner city street with an AR over your shoulder, can you?
No.
You got to have a handgun that you can conceal. So they're making it possible for those people to have firearms and for the crime to be rampant. They don't care who gets killed.
No.
They want you, the law-abiding, because you said it, Bill, earlier on. The law-abiding citizen is going to follow the law. The criminal's never going to follow the law. By definition, they're criminals.
Right.
They're never going to follow it. So what they actually want to do, they want to disarm as many law-abiding citizens as they can and have the criminals run rampant with gun violence. So the law-abiding citizens now have no choice but to have the government protect them. That's what they want.
They can't even protect us now.
I'm
But
telling
they
you,
don't want to. They don't want to protect us anyway. They want to
no,
control
they don't.
us.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I mean, all you got to do is look at the border and look at what's going on. AOC was screaming her head off, okay, claiming Trump cages when they were Biden and Obama built cages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's she
Now
now?
she ain't saying shit. She ain't down there now, is she?
Yeah. She, you know what's? Did you see the video of her
Her people.
talking about? First of all, this is not a surge, right? She said children are not insurgents. Like
Right.
she's trying to play words. We're like, everybody knows what a fucking surge is. A surge of water, a surge in your electricity, in your house. Everybody knows what it is. But if you look at that video, I think she has a tell, right? If she was a poker player, she'd be a very bad one.
Oh,
Because
horrible.
when she knows that something is bullshit, that she can't even believe she's saying it, she has this weird kind of uncomfortable laugh. And if you notice, watch that video again and you'll see. When she gets to the part where she says, and the word surge really is a white supremacist word, she laughs when she says white supremacist because she knows she's full of shit. She knows she's not really talking to anybody with half a brain cell. She's talking to those low information viewers of hers who hang on every stupid word.
But wait,
So,
when she says white supremacist, right?
and laughs.
Has she not seen old videos of Biden talk about talk about the craziness,
Bro.
segregation, and he doesn't want his kids in the jungle. And
Of course she's seen it. Everybody in America's seen it.
you voted for a fucking white supremacist.
But it's all
They
about
don't care.
it's all about political expediency. Forget about Joe Biden. She talks about white men being Ilhan Omar, Don Lemon, AOC. They all talk about the dangers of white men, and they're all fucking white men, right?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
all have relations with white men. It's almost like they want to stop racism one white dick at a time, but it's like, aren't you scared of your white man that you're living with? It's going to turn on you. They don't even believe this bullshit, dude. They just don't believe it. It's just
Harris?
like a political thing.
No,
Harris is married to a white
They don't
guy.
believe it. First of all, they know it. They know that. Listen, okay? There's two things that are absolute. When a person's lying, they know it, and God knows it. And they know God knows it. Okay? So that's why they laugh. Okay? They don't care that they're lying. They don't care. They don't even, it's like they throw shit against the wall and sees what sticks.
Because
okay?
they say it so much, so it's like they're brainwashed.
They just blast the same thing over and over again. All the news media to do it, and eventually, okay, what I call the lemmings out there that don't really research anything for themselves, they hear it enough and they go, "Oh yeah, that's what's going on. That's what's going on. That's what's going on."
Right.
And they know it. They know it. They study this shit. They know.
She's worried about the border crisis, but she's not calling it concentration camps anymore. Where with Trump, she goes, it's literally concentration camps. And now we have, these guys, they're all into like COVID and got a vaccine and we're so worried about COVID.
They're letting all the COVID people in.
They're letting people in
With
that
COVID.
have COVID. Plus, they have facilities that are built for 200 people, and there's 4,000 people in those facilities right next to each other. They don't give a shit about COVID.
But wait.
They never did this too, John. I got to make this point. They never did this. Never in the history, like you can say what you want about Trump and all that other bullshit. He let reporters in. He let Congress people in. He let everybody in. Our reporters now can't even get into the facilities.
Yeah, they won't let them in.
And the only pictures that we actually got, they had to take them with a telescopic lens from Mexico, from the Mexican side of the border. Mm-hmm. They won't even let us in. It's ridiculous. They don't even you see what they did to Ted Cruz? He tried to show the world what's going on. And they had this idiot in front of him talking about respect the dignity of the people. It was the dumbest thing. This is a U.S. senator, and she's jumping in front of him.
Dude, not for nothing. If I was United States Senator, that bitch would have been moved one way or another, even if it was by me. Yeah, when I'm looking through a fucking window, you don't get in front of me. Period. End of story.
Yeah, and then
that's what our representatives are supposed to be doing. Look at what's going on.
But see, the reporters are saying, when are we going to get a chance to look at these facilities and walk through them and kind of inspect things? And then but even Biden said, he goes, it'll happen. Just give me some time. In other words, let's just figure this out first, and then we'll let you in when we clean it up somehow. Bro, and you know what's happening now? Because they have so many children, they don't have enough supervisors. So now there's rape allegations of children. And the Texas Rangers are trying to get in there and investigate because they do that. And they won't even let them in to investigate. They won't let them interview anybody. They won't let them do any kind of forensics. They won't do anything. It's they don't give a shit about migrants, illegal immigrants, legal immigrants. They only care about perception. And as long as they act like they have it together, that's all they care about. Kids can be getting killed, raped. It doesn't matter to them. Their biggest fear is not some kid being raped. The biggest fear is that we find out about it.
But two things I want to get at really quick. Number one, I did see a video where one of the employees who portrayed an employee, didn't even work there, jammed a bunch of kids in some type of SUV and was leaving.
Oh yeah,
and I think it was actually Alex Jones that was trying to.
Alex Jones was jumping in front of the car, right?
Yeah. Okay. Now that's one thing. Now the other thing is, they put our American soldiers at the Capitol in a fucking parking lot to sleep at night, okay? Now, don't get me wrong. I know these guys probably can go through a whole shitload of mess and eat shit that'll make a Billy go puke, you know what I mean? Rambo style. But the you know, the disrespect that they showed our soldiers, protecting them from, I don't know what, there was fucking dust rolling around in the streets. And then the nerve that they have to take people crossing the border illegally to put them in fucking high hotels.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what? Dude, if I was a soldier, I would have said some shit. But, like, I would have probably been court-martialed at that point.
By the way, just to jump on that, the Biden administration has been spending so much money in hotels for these migrants. At the end of the year, if it keeps going this way, it's going to go into the $1.5 billion. I don't know where the hell we're getting this money. Now, we can't even give our own people money, and we're spending money on hotels when all he has to do. See, the problem with him is, it's this. Even Mexico's president said it. All he has to do is just go back to the way Trump, his policies on the border, were handled, and this would not be happening. He says he's not going to build one more foot of the wall, and now they're saying, "Oh yeah, we might finish the construction." Well, and what's funny, I read an article. I read an article, and this is why the media is the worst. They are the enemy of the people, man. He was right about that. Trump was right about that. The article titled said the Biden administration is thinking about fixing the gaps that the Trump administration left. He didn't leave any gaps. He signed an executive order to stop the building of that wall. The gaps were left with the stroke of Biden's pen, not because of what Trump did, but they're trying to spin it like, well, Trump left these gaps. You know what I'm saying? You see what they're going? They're going so they can say later on, well, they got in because of Trump forgot to close up these sections. No, you stop construction. There's actually sections of walls, John, that are down on the ground.
Yeah.
They were ready to be lifted and put together, and they just were left on the ground, just like that. Because when he signed that order, everything stopped that moment.
I know. People lost jobs, a bunch of stuff. But I want to go back to the kids for a second, though. Oh man, I totally forgot what I wanted to say about the children. Oh, here's what I wanted to say. So there's so many kids that are in the facility because under Trump, when kids came with an adult, right, claiming to be legal guardian, Trump literally had them DNA tested, okay,
right,
to see if that person that they came with was in fact a family member. All right. If they weren't, then the kids were separated, and then they would either contact back in Mexico or wherever they were, the kid's parents somehow, if the kid was old enough and knew, or they would try to contact a family member already living in America. Because 9 out of 10 times, the kid that came has that family member information. That's the whole reason they came to begin with. You know what I mean? But they stopped all that with Biden, and that's why there's so many kids in so many facilities, obviously being raped, molested, and then probably dropped off to the highest bidder at this point. So, right? Like people talk so much shit, right? About what's his name? Epstein, right? Epstein getting massages from young girls. The Democrats are 10 times worse at what's going on at the border than that guy ever was. You know what I'm trying to say? And I even hate to make that analogy.
Listen, what they did was they basically played into the smugglers, coyotes, whatever you want to call them.
Oh, big time.
Right into their hands. They could not ask for a better administration. What these people are animals. What they threw a toddler into the water, right? So because they knew that Border Patrol would go in to save that kid, and they did. But while they were doing that, it was like misdirection. They started smuggling things somewhere else on another point. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They called it in. The kid's in the water. Everybody's going there. Do what you got to do now. You have clear passage.
Yeah. They don't care about human lives.
Trump,
those people.
The good thing that Trump did, and it's beyond my imagination that nobody thought of this before, and these people are supposed to be professional politicians, or maybe that's why they don't care. But if you were an actual migrant seeking amnesty, you actually stayed for your court date in Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay, if he just brings back that policy, we wouldn't have these problems in these facilities.
I know.
These kids are actually being abused right now, and no one is saying anything. And the fact that the real president Kamala didn't even get to the border yet, I don't expect Biden to be there. But and then when she was asked about it, she laughed, and that's another one with the nervous fucking laugh.
No.
You know,
Didn't she decline it? Didn't Biden literally say in a press conference that Kamala's going to take care of it? I'm giving her the power, and she literally came out like a day later and was like, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
What make one comment, Bill? I've heard you probably 7 times in the last 3.5 minutes refer to them as migrants. What happened to the term illegal aliens? See how we're all being brainwashed now? Now, different levels, but we're all backpedaling from what the facts are.
They're not
the
migrating.
Facts are, these people are not migrants. Migrants come legally to our borders, present themselves, and make application to come in.
I'll tell you why I actually use that, because I try to at least, it doesn't always work with me, but I try to be measured with my words. When I say migrant, I actually mean people that migrate. You know what I mean? That actually move and they try to get in. When we're talking about illegal aliens, and I have no problem using that term, I'm talking about people that are in this country legally. You know what I'm saying? They're already in the interior. That's why I call them migrants. I don't really want to even call them immigrants, to be honest with you, because I don't even consider them immigrants. They're migrants, and if they get in and we don't know about it, they're illegal aliens. Not that they care. They let 85% in anyway. But that's the only reason. But I understand what you're saying, because when I talk to my liberal friends, I mean, the talking points are so ridiculous. It's like I could literally puppet them. They say a human being can't be illegal. Did you ever hear that? A human being can't be illegal. They say that all the time. And it's like, dude, so then no one can commit a crime? I don't give a fuck what you call it. When someone does something illegal, it's illegal. And yes, a human being can do something illegal, but they're trying to pull at the heartstrings, like saying a person, an actual being, cannot be illegal. No one even said that. When we say legal immigrants, we mean immigrants that were here unlawfully. They broke the law.
Think about this, and you hear this all the time. One of their biggest cries is, it's one of the biggest crimes of humanity to separate children from their parents. Okay, let me ask you a question. What do you think happens if the police come to your house with an arrest warrant for you and you're home there, the only one with your kids?
Well, obviously,
separated from your fucking kids. That's what's happening.
Oh, because I thought they would look at my kids and say, "Oh fuck, you got kids? Oh shit! All right, we gotta go. We gotta arrest only the people with no kids."
No, don't get me wrong. They're not going to just take you and leave your kids alone if they're too young.
They're gonna go.
They'll either bring them to someplace.
They're not going to come to jail with me. That's the point.
No, they're not coming to jail with you.
Yeah. So yes,
they're
exactly.
not coming to jail with you, but they may take them to a police station and ship them off to what used to be called DIFUS or some other thing or another family member. But the bottom line is, you, the parent, you're getting your ass separated from that kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is this? Oh, it's horrible to separate.
But that's everywhere. That's not only your house. Even if they stop you in the street in a car, you can get separated.
Listen, bro, it's because of what you said before. These play on words, these play on emotions. They don't have policy. They have emotions.
Yep.
Sensible gun laws. Ripping. What they don't even say separating parents with. They're saying they say the word literally a lot, and they go, they're literally ripping these children away from the arms of these crying mothers. Like they're almost writing a novel. Like they think like they're like amateur writers, and they're trying to get all this this emotion out of you.
You don't have to rip these kids out of anybody's arms. They're throwing them over the fucking fence.
Well, I gotta say one thing. I'm surprised that they all have COVID coming in because I felt like, the Democrats are actually giving them the vaccine before our own citizens. Not that I'm going to take the vaccine. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but the thing is, John, so many of them are coming in. They really just released them. They're just like, all right, fuck it. They actually don't even run away from Border Patrol anymore.
No, but can I say?
They just walk up right up to them.
Let me tell you why.
Yeah,
Let me tell you why.
Not only they're not running, they want to be caught. That's what they want.
Yeah, because then they got to bring you in. But let me tell you why they're allowing these people in, why they're allowing everything to happen. And unfortunately, it's bad for kids. It's bad for a lot of females, rapings and whatnot. But the reason being that they're allowing this to happen is because they want the vote. They want that vote that comes along with the person, and that's why they're trying to change the rules and regulations. You don't need voter ID, and you don't need this, you don't need that, and that's why they're so pissed off at Georgia for doing the same thing that Colorado already has implemented.
Bro, I'm going to tell you something. This is what's so funny to me, because when you're looking at the Democrats pretend that they give a shit about minorities, and in particular, they give a shit about the black community. Okay, Atlanta we're talking Georgia, right? It's like 51% black. Okay, they moved the All-Star game for Major League Baseball because of the voting. Worse than Jim Crow, basically.
The people voted for it. The fucking people voted for it.
But John, this is what I'm saying. This is why I tell people, if you believe these Democrats to this day, and I'm not even saying believe Republicans, I'm just saying politicians in general, but in particular the Democrats, and in particular in this situation, you got people acting like, yes, I'm glad that we got black people saying, I'm glad they took that All-Star game out of there. Do you know they lost so much money that goes to these minorities, right? Because they expected revenue, because it brings a lot of people into their cities for this All-Star game. And what did they do? And this is what I'm saying. What did they do? They moved the All-Star game to fucking Denver with like 9% black, less than the average of America, 9% black. And they actually require voter IDs and give you less time to put in your vote. So if that was some kind of Jim Crow era on steroids situation, what the fuck is this? Which is even hard, but no one's talking about that.
Don't you know what it really is? Don't you know what it really is? Okay, think about this. As fucking senile and useless as he is, the current president of the United States openly made a statement that he was supportive of the Major League Baseball moving out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Why, what stretch of your fucking imagination should a president of the United States take sides against any state of our country?
Exactly.
Right.
He's supposed to be representing them all. He should have said, listen, work out your differences however you can. Don't leave the state. Because guess what? All they're doing is they're punishing the black residents of Atlanta for not falling in line.
Exactly that. Okay. Exactly that. And he's supposed to be
because what did he say?
He's supposed to be the unifier.
But wait.
By the way, remember
what Paul just said. The best phrase that Biden said was on Charlemagne's show. What did he say again? If you don't vote,
he said, if you don't know if you're voting for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
There you go. All right. So he just fucked himself up.
But see, that's
they didn't ask a single black business owner in Atlanta how they felt about this move.
Yeah.
Did they? No, they asked somebody probably in fucking California or New York.
Dude, nobody that cares. Listen,
but Georgia voted for it. The people voted for this legislation.
Bro, first of all, it's not even racist. Okay? What's racist is thinking that black people they're too stupid to get a fucking ID to vote. Okay? Everybody, I don't know one person, honestly, that doesn't have some sort of ID. Not one, no matter what they are. The fact that and you know what's funny? It's not just the Democrats. It's this progressive liberal ideology where if they ask like kids in college, there was a video where they were asking kids in college, do you think voter ID is racist? And they all said yes. They all said yes. And then they were asking black people in the street the same thing. And they're like, no, everybody has ID. I don't know anybody who doesn't have ID. Right, they say black people can't get ID because they're too stupid. And they can't even get to the motor vehicles. To their local motor vehicles. They're just too dumb. They're just wandering around with like a note on their clothing.
What did he say about
please take me to motor vehicles.
What did he say about the internet that time? About he actually said Hispanics and black people about the internet.
First of all,
they don't know how to do something with the internet.
He said Hispanics and blacks, and it was a funny thing that he said. He goes urban and rural, so basically everywhere. He said that a lot of them don't have access and don't know how to use the internet.
Yeah, and then I saw on TikTok a bunch of videos with a black guy or a Spanish guy.
That was funny.
And they're walking around what's that movie? The Odyssey?
The black guy. That was the funniest video. The black guy that was looking at that laptop and he was like going around it like he didn't know what the hell it was.
Like, oh, what is this?
That was hilarious. That was so funny.
What was that movie? What was that movie back in the day where they had the big block and the Cro-Magnon men were walking around it? Remember what I'm talking about?
2001, isn't it?
Well, is it
An Odyssey, Space Odyssey, whatever it was.
Bro, that's exactly what it reminded me of. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. That's so funny, bro. That's so funny.
People hated Trump saying stuff, and this guy is saying the most fucking racist, asinine shit, and nobody's saying a fucking word.
Paul, if anybody said that you or anybody from your group, from your community, didn't have access to, couldn't get on a computer, couldn't get like you can't figure out how to get yourself an ID, a driver's license, anything. You don't even know how to get to the DMV. You couldn't figure it out if your life depended on you. So now we got to help you. Don't worry. The white saviors are here. We're going to take care of you. It's okay, little guy, patting you on the head. It's all right. It's all right. It's this way. I'll help you out. The only thing they care about is votes. It's way too, and the only reason and actually this is the problem. The only reason they want these, and you said it, John, the only reason they want these illegal aliens to be able to vote is really because they believe that they would actually get that vote. If all these people started coming over talking about voting for Republicans, believe me, they'll figure it out. They would be like, no, we need voter ID. Everything's for the vote. It's the silliest shit. They don't even talk about policies anymore. They just try to figure out how to get votes. They even do illegal things like vote harvesting. You're not supposed to do that shit. And they openly do it. But the Republicans suck, though, because they're the ones that actually have to stop this, and they don't. They try to play nice, Because
they get their hands greased. Listen, they get their hands greased, too, all right? These fucking Republicans are motherfuckers, too. But I wanted to touch base on that whole voting thing. Okay, so which party is the number one party that incarcerated people, so to say?
Democrats.
Yeah, okay. The Democrats.
Okay. Now, the Democrats they want to allow people in jail to vote, right? Because when you go to
felons,
jail, you lose your voting.
They want felons to vote. Yeah.
Okay, now, if I am if I'm in jail right now, I'm at least a little bit smart being in jail, I wouldn't fucking vote for the people that put me the fuck in here in the first place. And I'm not saying I did a hard crime. What if it's just a little misdemeanor, like I had a little weed on me or cocaine or whatever? You know what I mean? I'm not voting for these motherfuckers.
Yeah, but John, guess what? People that commit misdemeanors can still vote. It's not like you lose your ability.
Well, I don't know what level. I don't know what level it is that you lose your voting right. Paul, would you know that?
I think felons, you lose your vote. You lose the ability to vote in elections.
Yeah, I'm not saying I go into New Brunswick over here and get caught pissing in the street and I'm going to lose my voting right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, Paul, do you know what level of I guess felony?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, a lot of other places use felonies and other felonies, misdemeanors. And New Jersey doesn't even do that. There's no such thing technically as a felony or a misdemeanor.
So what does New Jersey have?
New Jersey has indictable offenses and non-indictable offenses.
Okay.
Okay, so most of your indictable offenses would probably fall into the equal level of a felony charge in most places. Okay, I mean, there's a couple other categories, but it basically comes down to indictable offenses and non-indictable offenses.
Okay.
Okay, and that just means that the amount of time you can actually go to jail for, as a minimum to the maximum.
Okay, now listen, before we go, 'cause we don't have a lot of time, I want to get into the whole marijuana thing in Jersey and that weird rule and regulation that they have, especially for kids, that if kids get caught or something that they can't tell the
Oh yeah, you
parents.
can't tell the parents.
What the fuck is up with that, man? You're
I
trying
don't
to tell me
understand.
if my kid gets caught with some fucking heroin?
You know what's funny?
you're not gonna tell
I
them?
think I understand it. I think I understand it. For many, many, many years now, you can see how they talk to our kids, how they tell the kids in school. If
Dare
your
program.
parent- right. I think what they're trying to do is they're really trying to sever the connection between parents and children.
I think so too.
Because you can see it. How many times you hear this story? Your kid goes away to college and they come back like an asshole. Like they know everything. They're understood. There was a point years ago where you might have differed with your parents' ideology, maybe they were too old school for you, but you definitely had a healthy respect for them. You wouldn't openly treat them like they were fucking retards. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Now
outsiders.
you have kids, no life experience whatsoever, telling you, you don't know nothing. You don't know anything. You're stupid. Like kids are telling parents that they're stupid right now. And I think this was like something that they probably started in the 90s maybe. And they slowly, I mean, listen, even now, I'm not saying that's good to abuse a kid, but when you tell a kid, if your parents do this or that or this, how many times did kids come home and say, I can call 911 on you? Right? And the joke was like, you won't even make it to the phone.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Because that wasn't a
what I'm
fucking
saying,
joke. Let me tell you something. That wasn't a joke. My mother would be fucking Goku at that point, man. Instant transmission
you're
on my
right.
ass.
John, you're right. But the fact that some arbitrary organization that has nothing to do with raising your kid is telling your kid how to basically fuck over the parents. You know what I'm saying?
Because those like government colleges and everything, the technical term I like to use for them is Johnny Appleseed, because that's all they do is they plant the seed in young children. Okay, like this whole bullshit in public schools in Jersey where they're going to teach kindergartners about sex and gender and all that. Motherfucker, no, I don't want my fucking 4-year-old, 5-year-old child to know about dicks and pussies unless I'm the one that's fucking telling them, okay?
They are sexualizing children at an earlier age, but they're taking that chore or that responsibility away from the parents. That's the issue. So the more they put a wedge between the parents and the children, the more they have now a whole generation that they can control. Because, and also you got to remember, when you teach the young generation to disrespect the older generation, you're really trying to say that you're disrespecting the country and the values of the country and stuff like that. You're really trying to separate values. It's depravity, really, And I think they've been doing this for a very long time now. I've seen how kids are different when dealing with their own parents. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh, yeah.
Like it's harder for parents now because kids have all this weird information. And now if a kid says something to a teacher, like the kid is pregnant, the teacher might not even have a care in the world to just take your kid to the abortion center and do it. You know what I mean? And let her get, because they don't have to tell you anything. They don't have to tell you that they're giving your kids condoms. They don't have to tell you that, they don't have to tell you anything. So,
bro, well, look at all the teachers. Look at all the teachers that are fucking students. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I was back in school back in the day, there's some hot teachers that are banging out. But I'm just saying.
Guys, think about this for a second.
It's still abuse, though, John.
I
John,
know.
it's still abuse.
I'll be like, yo, watch
Think
your
about this.
show daddy this teacher.
Think about this for a second. Both of you, listen carefully. If they can take our children and start teaching them all these things that go away from traditional values. When the time comes, how hard is it going to be for these kids to watch when the government agents kill you as the parents?
They'll probably
Because
give him the gun.
you spoke up too much. Think about
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
what they're doing. They're raising an entire society, an entire generation of human beings that do not have appropriate respect for human life.
Sheeple.
Really think about it. Okay. It's going to be, if left up to our government, it's going to be a case where the government can control everybody and everything, and they will sit by and watch blankly as all their older family members are just executed.
What you know? A movie portrays that the best. V for Vendetta.
Oh yeah,
That's how
yeah.
it
That
was.
was a good movie.
That's how it was in
I'll
V
give
for
you another
Vendetta
one. Did you ever see Equilibrium?
with Denzel.
No. No, Equilibrium.
Oh, that was
Who's in
that was
that?
the Equalizer.
No, Equalizer was
Yeah.
Denzel.
Listen,
Equilibrium
I've heard the
is
name of the movie. You got to refresh me on it.
who's the one guy who played Batman, the last one?
Val Kil-
Not
Uh, Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
yes, Christian Bale. The society, no one's supposed to have any emotions and no attachments to personal things. Okay,
Oh,
and
all right.
they're basically the government. It's like judge, jury, and executioner is in one thing. They have these guys called clerics, and they're like super badass at fighting and shit. But they'll go there, and they basically would see you displaying some kind of emotion or something, and if you don't willingly agree to be like reprogrammed, they make everybody take drugs too to keep them without their emotions.
I don't
You
remember
get
this movie at
executed.
all.
You can get executed. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens
It's a
is he's
2002
like
movie. That's why.
Christian
Equilibrium.
Christian Bale is like one of the top executioners
Okay.
who then he starts to get his emotions back and he goes against the whole system.
You know what?
A
Okay.
lot of
I've
people
seen
getting
parts
killed.
of this movie, and it reminds me of kind of like The Matrix, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta rewatch. It's a 2002 movie. I gotta rewatch it then. I'll rewatch it and come back on the next show and let you know. But
But if you catch that at all, Equilibrium with Christian Bale, check it out.
yeah,
I want to check it out. That sounds interesting. I just don't remember it. That sounds interesting. Yeah, but I mean, listen, they basically would love to create a generation of sociopaths, right? That they don't have any emotional connection to their parents. They don't have any emotional connection to their spouses. They just want, because those type of people are the people that actually you can control a lot easier. They want to raise people, children that will turn into adults that they can control. And they're convincing them at a younger and younger and younger age with all these stupid, listen, even like when they try to teach them like this diversity training and in like, at the tender age of 10 or even 8, all they're doing is saying, okay, this group is good, this group is bad, this group hate this group, and this group has to take it. I mean, it's like the weirdest thing, because they're trying to do like they're pretending they're trying to do some over correction for some past atrocities, but I just feel more and more it's like they want to separate people.
just let the
because
kids be kids, man. Let them be
but-
kids. Like even bullying.
You're
Wait, even bullying,
sexualizing children at this point. You're
No,
sexualizing children.
you are.
You know what I mean?
But hear me out. Listen, even bullying, okay? I'm not saying bullying to the point where it's social media bullying, but I had a bully growing up, and let me tell you something. I feel like I'm more of a badass because the fact that I got bullied, I had to watch my back, and then I fought back at one point to where that man that was bullying me showed me respect. You know what I mean? After that. And it made me feel good and have more confidence going out in the world that it's like, listen, nobody's going to bully me no matter what now. And that's why like I can do what I do and I can have speeches. If I go out, I can talk to everybody. I'm not just that schlump in the corner. You know what I mean? When I go to parties, whatever, I like to have fun. I'm out and open with everybody. Now, a lot of people that don't have that, if you stop all this, and I understand one thing, if society becomes normal and everybody's on the same playing field, then yeah, it's different. But even though they're trying to portray that, I feel like it's still not like that. There's always going to be somebody better than this person and vice versa. You know what I mean? So there's always going to be competition. What I think what they're trying to do in a little bit of what you're saying is they're trying to teach kids something that they shouldn't be knowing as kids, and they're actually trying to stomp out competition. So at one point, nobody's going to want to compete for like a better job or a better...
Listen, John, the progressives do not want competition whatsoever. They're trying to fill quotas, okay?